Amira and the secret realm of the centaurs. Amira awoke before dawn as she always did. After saying her morning prayers, she wrapped her threadbare shawl around her shoulders and headed out into the chilly desert air to gather food before the scorching sun rose high. Hours later, sweat dripped down Amira's back as she trekked home with her burlap sack containing just a few shriveled cactus fruits and beans. Though meager, she felt grateful to have found anything at all. As Amira approached her tiny hut made of mud bricks, she spotted a troop of soldiers waiting outside. Their polished armor and spears marked them as envoys of the cruel King Jafar. Amira paused, steadying her nerves before facing them. The captain dismounted his horse and strode towards her. By decree of King Jafar, you must come with us at once to be his new bride. Amira held her head high. Please inform your king I am not suited for such a role. The captain's face hardened. Refusing the king's proposal would be unwise. Girl, he nodded to his men, who began advancing. Amira dropped her sack and fled into the desert's embrace, the soldiers pursuing on horseback. Amira's lungs burned as she raced towards the distant mountain crags, shimmering in the heat. She had one advantage. This harsh land was in her blood. Still, she could not elude the riders forever. Glancing back, she saw them closing in, their swords raised high. Just when all hope seemed lost, Amira spotted a dark slit carved into the mountainside ahead. Gathering her skirts, she squeezed into the shadowy crevice. She pressed her body flat against the rock wall as the soldiers thundered past. When all was silent again, Amira felt along the cave wall deeper into the mountain, aware it might contain snakes or scorpions, but she had no choice if she wanted to avoid capture. Suddenly, a glow appeared ahead. Daylight. Amira emerged into an astonishing hidden oasis, ringed by swaying palms with a sparkling pool at its center. Lush plants thrived in this cave miraculously. Had she crossed into some magical realm? As Amira knelt to drink the sweet water, a strange cry pierced the air. Half human wail, half horse's whinny. She turned to see an incredible creature limping towards her. A baby with a human head and torso, melded to a horse's body. A centaur. Amira gaped in shock. She had heard legends, but centaurs were mythical beasts, weren't they? The little one cried piteously, covered in cuts and scratches. He had clearly been through some ordeal out in the desert. Though wary, Amira's heart broke seeing the centaur child, so helpless and afraid. She slowly stretched out her hand, murmuring soothing words. The centaur tottered closer until he collapsed, exhausted, into Amira's embrace. Amira carried the pitiful creature to the pond and gently cleaned his wounds. Amazingly, as she cradled him, the cuts healed over at her very touch. The centaur babe blinked up at her with his big brown eyes. Calm now, Amira smiled, though puzzled by this magic. As the stars emerged, Amira bedded down with the orphaned babe beside the pond. She sang softly until his eyes drifted shut, nuzzling into her warmth. Though bizarre, he seemed linked to her fate now. We shall look after each other, Amira whispered. When she awoke, the centaur top was already up splashing playfully in the pond. Amira laughed light-heartedly at his antics, the first time she had truly felt joy in many years. Her lonely life might have purpose now raising this extraordinary foundling. As the days passed, Amira noted her new companion was swiftly growing, his legs becoming lean and muscular. While timid at first, his true personality shined through. Curious, mischievous and brimming with energy, Amira named him Yohi, meaning dignified in her native tongue. Amira and Yohi slept in the cave, but ventured out daily so he could run freely through the oasis. Palm groves, strengthening his horse legs. At night, Amira gazed upward, telling Yohi about the constellations that had guided her people across the sands for generations. One morning, when Yohi was several months old, Amira followed him through a narrow canyon at the back of the oasis, which opened up into an astonishing new world. A sprawling valley between soaring cliffs teeming with centaur herds. Some centaurs galloped in and out of caves carved into the red rock walls, while others waded in a glittering river flowing through verdant meadows. They came in a rainbow of colors and patterns, yet all shared the striking blend of human and horse, so beautifully embodied in Yohi. Amira quickly pulled Yohi back into the canyon. This was surely his ancestral home, but they were unlikely to accept a strange human. Yet now that Yohi had found his kind, how could Amira deprive him of his rightful heritage? That night, she hatched a plan. At daybreak, Amira ventured alone into the valley with a bundle of greens as a peace offering. Curious centaurs cautiously surrounded her, sniffing the rare treat. In their lyrical tongue, Amira explained rescuing their orphan prince, promising to return him to his true home. The centaurs whispered amongst themselves, then parted to reveal a regal chestnut-coated centaur with braided locks. "I am Queen Zara. We know of you, Amira, the human with a good heart foretold in legend. Our prince's arrival was prophesied long ago. Come." Zara led Amira towards an elegant palace carved into the rock. Inside the throne room, Zara introduced the lone king, her son Bakari. He was only a few years older than Amira with kind, intelligent eyes. Zara explained that Bakari's betrothed had died, leaving him without a mate to rule by his side. Amira's heart quickened as she gazed at the handsome king. She explained rescuing Yohi and the magical bond between them. Bakari greeted Yohi warmly, clearly overjoyed to meet his long-lost baby brother. A grand feast was held at night in Amira and Yohi's honor. For the first time in her life, Amira felt she had found where she truly belonged. Over the following weeks, she grew close with the centaur herd and their reverence for nature, so alike her own. But most of all, Amira felt drawn to King Bakari. They spent long hours talking by the moonlit river. Though human and centaur, they understood one another deeply. Amira felt happier than she ever dreamed possible. The joyous times were short-lived. One day scouts warned that the rival demonic Ikreb herd were approaching to attack again in their generations-long war. Bakari had hoped Amira's arrival signaled an era of peace, but it was not to be. On the eve of battle, Bakari came to Amira. "This war has gone on since my grandfather's rule," he despaired. "I do not know if we can defeat the Ikreb this time." Amira grasped his hands. "Have faith," she urged. "I will be right beside you when the sun rises." Though never trained as a warrior, when the time came, I fought fiercely to protect her new home. Using her mystic gift of healing, she tended to the centaur's wounds, saving many lives. At last Bakari faced the Ikreb leader in a clashing of swords and hooves. Amira seized a spear, and with all her might threw it to pierce the evil centaur's heart. Their enemy defeated, jubilant cries rang out across the valley. That evening, amidst the victorious herd, Bakari proclaimed his love for Amira, begging her to stay and rule by his side. With all her heart, Amira accepted. She had finally found where she belonged. Their wedding ceremony was held beneath a blossoming desert acacia tree in the oasis where they first met. Amira arrived wearing a crown of radiant desert blooms. As they spoke their vows, magic surrounded them. Amira looked down in astonishment to see her legs transform into gleaming chestnut horse flanks. Though now a centaur herself, the ability to shift between human and equine form whenever she wished remained hers, connecting her to worlds. From that day on, the herd prospered under the revered King Bakari and Queen Amira's peaceful rule. Though born worlds apart, their shared principles and devotion forged a legendary bond that would inspire generations to come.